He sat alone in the dim corner of a five-star restaurant, a man who owned half the skyline yet couldn't keep a single person close. The world called him ruthless, cold, untouchable. And tonight, on what he swore would be his final blind date, he expected nothing but another disappointment, until the girl who walked in didn't just sit across from him, she shattered every wall he had spent years building. Before we begin, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Tales and Turns. Tell us where you're watching from in the comments below, we'd love to know. He checked his watch for the third time, irritation tightening his jaw. Adrian Frost, CEO of Frost Dynamics, billionaire before 30, and a man who trusted efficiency more than people, was not accustomed to waiting. The restaurant's warm lights and soft music felt foreign to someone whose life revolved around deadlines and mergers. He told himself this date was just to appease his well-meaning sister, nothing more. But deep down, a small, reluctant part of him wondered if maybe, just maybe, there was still something human left in him capable of wanting more than success. Then the doors opened, and she stepped in. Not glamorous, not dressed for attention, just quietly beautiful. A simple dress, a steady gaze, and a kind of softness he hadn't seen in years. Her name was Maya, and she walked with the confidence of someone who had weathered storms without losing herself. When she reached his table, she smiled like she had known him forever. Adrian felt something he hadn't felt in a decade, his heartbeat stuttered. She sat down, and for a moment, the world stopped rushing. They spoke, hesitantly at first, then as if something in the air shifted. Adrian found himself listening, not just reacting, but genuinely listening. Maya didn't ask about his company or his wealth. Instead, she asked, "What brings you joy?" The question startled him. No one had asked him that since before his parents died. His rehearsed mask cracked, and he gave the most honest answer he'd given in years, "I don't remember." Maya didn't judge him. She only nodded gently, her eyes reflecting understanding rather than pity. The conversation flowed, her dreams, his fears, her love for teaching kids, his cold childhood shaped by relentless expectations. As the food arrived, Adrian realized something unsettling. For the first time in years, someone saw him. Not the CEO, not the billionaire, not the men on magazine covers, but the lonely soul beneath. Hours passed without either noticing. But just when Adrian thought the night couldn't feel more surreal, Maya excused herself suddenly, her phone buzzing anxiously. She returned looking shaken, apologizing as she said she had to leave immediately. Something in her voice told him this wasn't an excuse. Against his usual instincts, Adrian followed her outside, watching her rush toward a small taxi. Impulse overpowered logic. "Let me take you," he said. She hesitated, then agreed. They arrived at a small, aging apartment building. A child's cries echoed down the hallway. Maya's little brother, barely 8, was burning with fever. Their guardian, an elderly aunt, was struggling. Adrian watched silently as Maya comforted the boy with practiced tenderness. Only then did he understand, she wasn't simple. She was holding an entire world together with her bare hands. And she did it without ever complaining. Without hesitation, Adrian called his private doctor. Within minutes, help arrived. As the boy's fever began to stabilize, Maya stood quietly in the doorway, tears threatening but unfallen. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. Adrian looked at her, feeling something warm bloom in a heart he thought was frozen solid. "I wanted to," he said, and the truth in his voice surprised even him. The night stretched into dawn. They talked softly on the building's old staircase while her brother slept peacefully. She told him about losing her parents young, working multiple jobs to care for her brother, dreaming of a life where she didn't have to choose between survival and happiness. Adrian shared the pieces of himself he had never shared with anyone, the pressure, the emptiness, the fear of never being loved for who he truly was. Their differences should have separated them, yet somehow, they fit. As sunrise painted the walls gold, Adrian knew something with absolute clarity: this blind date wasn't an accident. It was a turning point. His life, once defined by cold strategy, had just been rewritten by a girl who had nothing but heart, and gave it freely. When he finally asked, "Can I see you again?" Maya smiled, tired but glowing. "Only if you promise to remember what joy feels like." In that moment, Adrian Frost, who had spent years believing love was a weakness, realized that sometimes it takes losing everything to gain what really matters. And sometimes, one unexpected person can melt a lifetime of ice. The cold millionaire CEO didn't just agree to one last blind date, he found the one that changed his life forever. Would you like thumbnail prompts, description, or hashtags for this story too?